we're live with another edition of Notes on the News Feed, where I share with you headlines from my news, because we don't always have all the time we need to do all the in-depth research that we want to do. Sometimes I have to admit I just read the headline. That's all I'm going to read to you, the headline. Sometimes I hadn't even had a chance or made the chance to read the article or do in-depth research on the article or the subject matter at large. But that's why it's not news. It's just my notes on the news. So in addition to reading the hairlines, I might share with you my thoughts and perspective on the stuff that come up when the coming ups come up. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Thank you so much for clicking on the video or tuning in live and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. We're working on 1,000 new subscribers. So thank you for being one of my first 1,000 subscribers. Because you are, right? Of course you are. You wouldn't be in here. Hey, you wouldn't be in here just sucking up all this content and not even bothering to just hit the little subscribe button. Let us proceed with the notes on the news feed. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai accepts NRA award, raising questions from critics. I guess the FCC chairman, he already was like, I don't give a F about what the American people think. So I don't know why anybody is surprised. They like, he's out of step with how most Americans feel. Why is he accepting an award from the NRA? They probably gave him some money. I mean, yeah. That's the guy who was like, no net neutrality. Oh, so we got 2 million comments, 1 million of them were fake. Oh, well, I don't care. I'm not going to investigate that stuff because I'm on my agenda. I'm doing what my masters pay me to do. Shoot, don't be questioning me. I'm the chair of the FCC. Syria war. UN Security Council approves 30-day ceasefire. So I don't really understand how the UN Security Council is involved with this. It's sort of like if I'm fighting with you and we both agree we're going to stop fighting for 30 days, 30 minutes, whatever, then I got to go to somebody. We got to go to somebody else to get approval for us to stop. I don't know. How does that work? I didn't click on the articles because it's the second time it came up. So I don't understand. Maybe as I see it again, maybe one day I'm going to have time. Today I don't have time, but one day I'm going to have time. Apple Pay Cash nears its first international expansion. Y'all use them pay apps? I'm so backwards. Is everybody using them? I don't trust them. I don't trust a lot of stuff. I'm like slow. I'm like, let me, see what happened to y'all. South Africa, or once I don't have a choice, or feel like I have a choice. South Africa, this was my favorite story. As a matter of fact, let me hit this and let this load up so we gonna get a little more information on this. Because I was sort of like, what is going on? South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa wants to confiscate and redistribute white farmers' land. So I was like, oh, dang, that headline make it seem like he want to take the land from the white farmers and redistribute it maybe to the black majority in the country. I was like, but I thought that the whole, thing of getting rid of Zuma was so that they could get the powers that be, the 1% in the world or whatever, could get somebody in there that would be an advocate for the white farmers. That's what I thought was going on, right? He says that he wants to address the legacy of colonialization in his country by taking land from white farmers and giving it to the black citizens. And he said in an address to South Africa's parliament in Cape Town that the original sin of the country was the European colonizers taking land from the tribal people in the 1600s. So I was like, oh, that was what he said. And then the other thing we talked about the other day is he said he was going to be doing lifestyle audits on people to try to cut down on, like I make $30,000 a year, then how am I driving a car that costs, $300,000? Where is my family rich? Where am I getting the money? Am I taking bribes? Let's do an audit and figure out what's going on. Let me let you know that we are looking at you, civil servants or whatever. So, yeah. Okay. So I mean, I don't know, people, you don't have to agree with me, but I kind of feel like, when you look at the statistics and you look at the country, and most of the people is black, and then most of the people who had the land or was working the land, and then when the people was over, my people was just over in the South Africa, they like, you see the shanty towns over here, and it's like a gazillion people, and then you see fences on this other side of the road, and it's just land and land and land, and it's fenced in. And then I heard that it's like different color roofs. So like if you're white, your roof is one color. If you're colored, your roof is one color. And then I guess it's a different color for black. But I just heard about those two colors. So I'm here for it. Whites for Trump threatened to lynch black woman in Florida. Canadian Winter Olympics athlete, his wife, and the son of a BC senator were arrested, British Columbia, I think that's like in Canada, were arrested in South Korea and charged with stealing a car. Now, I don't know how people act when they go to other countries, especially when they're like, the children of senators and, Olympic athletes and wives. You there with your wife, your husband. Okay, I guess we're back. My screen was just frozen. I looked up and it was like, so are people just out there like wilding out stealing cars? Because I mean, I feel like, I guess I don't, even on my worst behavior, I'm not going to be stealing cars. But when I'm traveling, I try to be on my best behavior because I'm in a foreign country and I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm like, no, they weren't out here stealing cars. What's really going on? But I don't know what people be doing. 3 Nigerian sisters launch Afrikmoji to celebrate African culture. South Carolina woman fought with black neighbors for 7 years over Confederate flag until this happened to change her mind. I guess she's the only white person in the neighborhood. She had a Confederate flag. She like, I would never take it down. They did petitions. They talked to her. They probably prayed with her. They probably tried to give her cakes and, tried to kill her with kindness. And then she had a heart attack. And then after the heart attack, she had to change her mind. I'm like, did somebody poison her? Like give her a cake to have something? No, nobody did that. You see how twisted my mind is sometimes? But the nerve of somebody to be like sitting up in like a black neighborhood, like waving their Confederate flag, like just the boldness. That's like the privilege of it all. The privilege of it all. America's voting machines are so old that they could easily be hacked. Like sometime in the future, could possibly maybe be hacked, the voting machines. And it might even lead to like an election being, hacked. I don't know. It's just like wild thoughts here. I'm a little psychic. So, yeah. CDC employee Timothy Jarrell Cunningham vanishes after calling in sick. I think I saw his dad on the TV the other day. His son is a scientist, and he like, we don't understand. They went to the house, the stuff is there. They don't, like his phone is there. It's like a missing person situation. Like, where is he at? What happened? I didn't know he worked for the CDC, because I was kind of like, he worked for the CDC and he calling in sick. But I'm like, I guess people who work for the Center for Disease Control could get sick too. Shoot. They don't control the diseases to keep them from getting to them. UN approves 30-day ceasefire in Syria. Watch Kerry Washington perform Ain't I a Woman by abolitionist and former slave or enslaved person. Sojourner Truth. That's one of the monologues I do. I got a thing I'm supposed to be doing on Friday. So this just reminded me I need to review Ain't I a Woman. I can't even think of how it starts now. Yeah, I really need to review because I was going to give y'all a little bit. South Africa police station raid. 7 suspects shot dead. Yeah, I was confused by the story because they don't know why the people came into the police station, but they had robbed the bank someplace else. And I'm kind of like, well, if I robbed a bank and or an ATM and I got away with it, why am I going to go to the police station and shoot people? It seemed like I would go on with my money and go on about my business. I don't know. I don't understand. But, rest in peace. 7 suspects shot dead. And I'm always suspicious when the suspects get shot dead, because then I kind of feel like, well, the only story you're going to get is the story of the shooters. They were guilty. They were doing this. They were doing that. You'll never get the alternative theory or the alternative story. which is hard to get when the people are alive anyway. White men are the future of beer, and that's terrible news for the struggling industry. You drink beer? I don't really drink, but they say, you know, the main people who drink beer are white men. India groom killed in Odisha after wedding gift explodes. So rest in peace to him. I think him and his grandmother made their transition or are making their transition now. So them, you know, the families, the communities. Because, I mean, just imagine being in a wedding and thinking it's a wedding gift. And, oh, it's a, yay, it's a happy occasion. And then it's like an explosion, people dying. Ooh, okay. Wall Street CEOs got big raises. Here's how much Jamie Dimon, Lloyd Blank filed, and other top bankers are making. Some of them, I just skimmed the article, but right at the top, it was like a 48% raise. And the people, who were we talking about? The people at Disney? Where were the people at yesterday who said they done formed a union, but the company is holding their $1,000 bonus hostage? Because they want the union to do what they want the union to do. Redrawing the real life Black Panthers. As in, when I first heard of the movie Black Panther, I guess I'm the older generation, because I'm like, oh, a movie on the Black Panthers, like the group of people in California who were revolutionaries, and, you know, and then, you know, they're like, this person is going to be in Black Panther, this person. And finally, I guess I clicked on an article, and that's when I realized it was a Marvel comic. How some companies are paying workers to be financially responsible. So like if you save $50 a week, $50 a week, $50 a week, $50 a week, after 6 months, they'll give you $50 or whatever. So they have like different incentives, some of these companies, to encourage people to be financially responsible, save money, you know, do things that are good for them financially. So I was always, when I worked in the couple times that I worked like in a corporate context, I was very sensitive, I noticed, to that stuff. Like if they were matching what I saved, oh, you better believe I was maximizing. If they was gonna match me, I was. So if I was like, I saved for 6 months and you gonna give me $50, shoot. I mean, you know, I'd been like, I save anyway, but I've been documenting that because I'm gonna get that $50. And I guess, you know, for some people, you know, that's like at the health food store here. They have this thing where you have a card, one of them, and for every if you spend $40, they punch your card. And then at the end, once you get 10 punches, and now they raise it up to 12 punches, you get a free $40. And to me, for some reason, that just seemed like, oh my gosh, that's like a free $40. But if they had said it's a 10% discount, which is less than 10% now, because one time I figured it out, I'm like, I would not be, because if I'm like at, you know, 28, I'd be like, oh, I'm about to get up to this 40. It's like I like buy in to that. I'm just sorry to say, but it's true. It's true. And I wouldn't buy in if they just said you'll get a 10% discount. But the idea of like, this is $40 free. So different stuff speaks to different people. How some come, okay, we talked about that. No, postcards won't solve our Russian interference problem. This is somebody at Engadget, and they talking to Facebook. They like, now you stress people out about verifying their account or whatever. The tone of the article, when I clicked it to skim it, Engadget seemed like they're a little salty with Facebook, but they're like, no, postcards are not the solution. And you give regular people so much drama, and then you have all these Russian bots and all these Russian people on here doing real nefarious stuff. You need to stop harassing the regular people out here just trying to, like, you know, send up cute pictures or whatever, and, you know, get on these people who are doing criminal activities. Thank you for the like. So, yeah, we heard about the fact that they're going to have postcards if you like, oh, I'm running an election campaign. I can't put up an ad for a campaign in Russia when my address is in the United States, and vice versa. How two Goldman Sachs investment bankers quit their jobs and raised £5 million to cook meals for the dogs of celebrities. So they started a business. Hey, Roddy Chica 59. They started a business cooking food for the dogs of celebrities. When the people were gone from South Africa, I didn't go out and get kibbles because I don't eat meat. But I noticed that there'd be some meat just sitting around, like fish and stuff sitting around in the freezer. And so I fed the dogs oatmeal because I Googled it. steel cut oats. I'm a steel cut oat eater, but I fed the dogs steel cut oats and fish, and then a couple of days they got eggs. They didn't get too much salmon because but I would just put it in the oven and cook it, and they ate it like they thought it was good. I ain't seasoned it up, no onions, no. And then there's some grits that are they're like coarser than normal grits, and so they got some of that some days. Oatmeal, yeah, but I didn't know it was it. But I don't want to say I felt crazy cooking for the dogs, because I didn't. I just threw stuff in the oven, and then an hour later I come back and get it. I didn't have to worry about seasoning it or anything, and I just had one dedicated cooking utensil for them, or pot or whatever. But yeah, I didn't know I could if I could be making a business out of it. You throw some parsley in there. Those coarse grits, not like I have a tolerance for some coarseness, but that was like just beyond my tolerance. I'm like, this to me is nasty. I could never figure out, because yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Okay. But the dogs like the coarse grits. They like them. Mom, floored after learning her 10-year-old son volunteered to be human shield in case of school shooting, because this mama is black and her son was one of 2 black boys in the school. And he said he volunteered. The teacher didn't select him. He said he volunteered because, and I couldn't read the whole article because my phone was acting crazy, but he said he's been, he's lived his life and he wants his friends to be able to live their life. And I guess, I don't know if the parents are military or something, because it seemed like he's done some world traveling. But it was just kind of like, it was the whole story, the concept was disturbing. One, that anybody's child needs to be the one to be volunteered or selected to be the human shield for bullets. And then 2, that the black boy wanted to, I guess it's good to be a human being, but I just kind of feel like we always forever mewling for white folks. We always want to help them. We all, I don't know. I just feel so nasty saying that. That seems so, but the whole thing was very disturbing to me. And the mom was floored. Ryan Coogler explains how visiting real African countries influenced the making of Black Panther. What I thought was interesting is that his first trip to Africa was in doing research for the Black Panther. So I guess Disney paid him to go to Black love, sis, peace. It's all fun and games until somebody get poked in the eye. I guess Disney paid him to go to Africa. Oh, I saw that movie last night. I want to do I got my newspaper here. This is from the South African premiere. This is from the South African premiere. This is a South African newspaper when they were premiere, and I was thinking about doing them together. Because this stack of newspapers, I was like, oh, I'll do a notes on the news feed from South Africa. And I'm like, it's a lot going on here. I don't know if I have time. Okay, Brandy's daughter leaves her speechless with thoughts on body confidence. Hey, Frank G. What I was thinking about when I was thinking about Brandy and her brother Ray J. I don't know if you may or may not be familiar, but Brandy was the singer, and she has a brother who's like a reality star. Now, Ray J, her brother, now Brandy is a woman when she was a young girl and she had Moesha, that TV show. I always thought Moesha was so beautiful and so cute and so confident and so wonderful. And as an adult, when I read that she felt that she was not attractive, I was like really surprised. And even she went to a performing arts school, and I don't know if someone had said to her, maybe the teachers, like, well, you shouldn't go out for that part because you're not cute. And I'm like, that girl is gorgeous. But anyway, I had no idea that she was feeling any sort of way, because Moesha seemed like Moesha. She, I don't know, I bought it. But when I watch her brother, the bits and pieces that I've seen of her brother on the reality shows with the light-skinned, racially ambiguous women, I always wondered how that made Brandy feel about herself, because it seemed like her sense of self, and her, her confidence in herself seemed shaky already. And then she's not fitting into the beauty standard of the society. And then when your own family member, your own brother think you ugly, or think, that's beautiful and you're not, or someone who looks like you is not, it just seems like it would be hurtful. And so then seeing the baby girl, her daughter, I guess who's on the chubbier side, You know, I just wondered how, you know, how Brandy and her daughter process. He's married this woman named Princess Love. Brandy is beautiful. And I'm sure her daughter, I mean, you know, it's just like, but when you out, you know, it's like, it's a lot of messages. It's a lot of messaging out here, powerful messaging, and people's choices and decisions that tell you, you know, you ain't boo-boo. You ain't worth nothing. You know, ain't nobody checking for you. You know, you lucky if somebody, you know, breathing your... I'm back. People hate on others. I don't even know if y'all knew I was gone, but my thing just, I don't know. I need a technician. I don't know what I need, but I don't know why. What I need is for this stuff to just work the way I want it to work. I don't know why it's cutting off. Let me not even talk about that. Popular hair dye brand uses Kandi Burruss as their cover model for 20 years and counting. So somebody sent her a picture, like, it's the hair dye I get, and you the model. She like, that picture is old. They ain't come up with no new styles or colors in the 20 years that, and I think one of the other women from her group, Escape, is one of the models as well. It's kind of like, oh, that's... Syria war. Who are Russia's shadowy Wagner mercenaries? The Prime Minister of Malaysia caused a scandal when he said he prefers quinoa to rice. Now, they already thought that the man was snooty, and then he going around talking about, I like quinoa better than rice. And they like, quinoa is more expensive. You're not here for the people. You here for you snooty. So I guess that's the basic story. Now, I don't like quinoa. Well, I didn't mind quinoa when I tried it, except for it makes me sick, and I didn't know. And then when I did some research, because I'm like, every time, like, I kept, you know, I noticed that I was like nauseous every time I ate quinoa, and then and I was soaking it and doing whatever. But you know, and then I did some research, and they're like, some people have a sensitivity to quinoa, and it's not for them. So if I see them little squiggly things, I'm like, because I don't like feeling nauseous. I don't like it. I don't like it. But not because I'm snooty or anything, because I like brown rice. When I was in New York, and I would like go, you know, to certain restaurants and be like, well, I like brown rice because, you know, I started to cultivate a like for it. And I'd be like, well, do you have brown rice? I like brown rice. And the people would be like, no. And my husband at the time was a scientist. And so some of his Asian friends, he told me that whatever, I got the word that it's like the people who eat brown rice are like the peasants. You know, refined people eat white rice. So for me to go into a restaurant, some restaurants were like offended that I was asking for brown rice. Like, what do you think we got? What do you think we do here? Serve peasants? And I was like, no, I just want brown rice. I like brown rice too. You don't have brown rice? That's like it used to be my litmus test. If they don't have brown rice, they not, just like if they don't have sparkling water, they're not a real restaurant. And they have to have they have to have sparkling water and brown rice. What? It's not a restaurant. It's a fast food joint. So I guess I'm snooty in my way too. Okay, ICRC, and I think this has to do with the Red Cross. ICRC, International something Red Cross, reveals 21 staff paid for sexual services. So the conversation continues. It's expanded from Oxfam. Now, then we had a general conversation on some of these news sites yesterday about general aid agencies, and now this is zooming in on the Red Cross. Now, what I don't understand, or like what I was trying to process, is like the people are going over from their home to another place to quote unquote do service, and I guess they have sexual needs because they're human beings. But so I don't know if I necessarily think it's wrong for them to have sex in other countries, but I guess it is difficult for them to have. It's sort of like there's a power differential. There's no way for them to have a consensual relationship when somebody is so desperate that I'll have sex with you for a cup of milk and you got a whole bunch of cups of milk. You know, how can we have a consensual relationship? So I guess that's like, you know, a big part of the issue. Like, not when we're talking about children, of course, that's totally different. You know, and not when we're talking about, you know, yeah, I'm gonna give you your food rations if you give me some booty. I think that's different. But I mean, I don't know. It just seems like the whole system worldwide is set up for the exploitation of vulnerable people, children, black people, women, you know, just creating vulnerabilities and exploiting those vulnerabilities. I guess that's what capitalism is in a way. But I don't know. Yeah. Colorado bar under fire for physically removing black patrons from business over a song request. I don't know what the, I didn't look at the article, so I don't know if you went in and you like, oh, I want to hear Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And they're like, get out, and punched you and threw you. I don't understand. That's what the you know, that's what it sounded like. They mad because the people requested a song. Black Panther costumes, how Philip Boot Jr. brought the characters to life. He did costumes not only for Black Panther, he's doing them for the interracial love story that's coming up called with Oprah Winfrey and Ava DuVernay, Wrinkle in Time. And he did costumes for some other big movie. And I think he met Ava DuVernay on Twitter, although he was already doing something. It looked like sort of big time in order to have caught her attention, but I can't remember the details now. But I don't know who Philip Boot Jr. is, but you know, maybe congratulations are in order. FBI probe into alleged NCAA recruiting violations leave black players and their families vulnerable. That's like in Baltimore, they're having, I don't know, we haven't really talked about it, but I've been looking at the pictures when they're like, these corrupt police. Now, we've been talking about corrupt police and police issues with police for whatever, right? So now they're prosecuting some police for being corrupt. I think if I see an image of like 8 people up there, it's 2 white people and like 6 brown and black people. So I'm like, now of all the corrupt police in the country, and we know, how come it's so many brown and black people being, you know, getting in trouble, are there any other kind? Any other kind of what? Criminals? Police officers that are criminals? You mean our criminals and police officers? That's like being redundant, right? Criminal police officers, is that what you're saying? So, you know, I didn't even really want to, like, I just felt like I didn't have enough information to get into that whole thing with the cops and how now that we're, you know, going after these bad cops, they all, for the most part, happen to be black and brown. But this NCA thing with the violations, you know, I don't really understand how it works. I just get the impression that high schools and colleges and particular universities are making big money off of these kids, especially these football players who are getting hit in the head, banged in the head. They've been getting hit in the head and banged in the head since they were babies. They're probably already compromised in terms of traumatic brain injuries or whatever, and then the colleges are making all these money, and they like, you can't get any money, and so then a lot of people are desperate, and they like, you know, trying to get some benefit from you know, their sacrifice, because everybody's not gonna make it to the major leagues to be able to make money, you know. And so of course when it comes time for people to get in trouble, the impression that I get, I don't know, is that it's gonna be, you know, the black and brown. Now, we do know that athletes, especially NCAA, that's basketball, right? I don't know if I know this, but I definitely have the impression that they are very black and brown. So I guess, you know, it's going to make sense for, you know, for when people start getting in trouble, it's going to be us. Cab driver found guilty of stealing John Legend's luggage. Now, I thought he was driving them in the cab, and then when it came time for them to get out, he just slipped the bag under the thing and didn't give it to him or whatever. But it sounded like he got it from the airport and was, you know, I didn't study the story deeply, but it was like a couple, like, it seemed like it was like 20,000, give or take. It might have been 2,000, I don't know. But, you know, he had some valuables in there, and they had the man on tape. YouTube finally notices InfoWars is peddling dangerous conspiracies. I guess they have a YouTube channel. And here's Engadget again being a little like, they seem like they got an attitude, or somebody over there is like, finally, YouTube this. Oh yeah, Facebook, you know, somebody over there seems like they feeling a little jazzy. I've never noticed their headlines seeming so je ne sais quoi, but you know what I'm saying. Philando Castile's mother, we were just talking about him yesterday or the day before, blasts the NRA head for staying silent in wake of son's death. So we were talking about that. Like, I think it's politically, you know, it's good to point out, or I don't know if it's good if you're, as well she should, if you feel called to point out the discrepancies and the hypocrisies, I think that's good. But I hope that she's not in her heart of hearts, you know, we have to stop buying into the propaganda, because it's not for us, you know. Now you can throw it in their face and use it as a weapon, or a tool, but we can't, you know, we got to see it for what it is as much as we can. Help us, God. Cam's Soda's Rub Grub is a pizza ordering button for your vibrator. So after you use your vibrator, it orders, you can press a button and it orders pizza for you. Now, I'm not really like a comedian like some people, but to me that just seemed like there was like, it was some comedic gold in that headline. I just couldn't mine it, but it's there. It's there. Bullied NFL players shotgun pic on Instagram causes high school closure. Now, this man, I think this young man, he's mixed race, I think they said, and he said that he had been bullied when he went to the school, and he called out names, and he's in the NFL, so he's like I guess, yeah, there's a barrier between high school and college usually when you go into the NFL. I mean, you know, there's college is the barrier, so he should be older than just like a high school kid. But anyway, I guess he said something about he felt bullied and the school shut. They said, we closing down, you know. I don't know, I don't see his name, but yeah, you know how, like, when I was growing up, there was somebody named Refrigerator. So-and-so Refrigerator, somebody was a football player. But, you know, though, he looked like one of them big, like, 300, I don't know, but he just looked big to me. You know how some football players look like more like, you know, fit and slim. He seemed like the big guy. You know, I don't know what position he would play, and I don't even know what his name is, and I'm not going to look it up, but they knew who he was, and they closed that school down. Somalia, Al-Shabaab, deadly double car bombing near presidential palace. I think that 18 people made their transition and in Somalia last night. So rest in peace to those people who made their transition or are making their transitions to their families and their communities. You know, I don't know. Is there a reason why? I don't know the reason why, if there is a reason why. You're hurting me. Facebook video of 5 police officers tackling black teen goes viral. This is a story we were talking about in Toronto yesterday. And for some reason, I don't know why, and I have to look back at the headline, but I thought that it was 5 teens who got attacked by the cops. But it was 1 teen who got attacked by 5 cops. So the baby was saying, you're hurting me. You know, so, you know, it continues to build. Some stories, it seems like you see them one day and then you never see anything else. And then some stories, it seems like you see them, you know, they kind of build and have a whole life. Defend your rights. Killer Mike wants black people to buy guns and resist tyranny. Can Black Panther be used to teach colonialism in Africa? One teacher thinks so. Is she trying to teach, or is he or she trying to teach the children to be colonizers, or is she trying to teach them or are they trying to teach them about colonialism? I don't understand. Deaf Eritrean twins break barriers in fashion world. Eritrea. Groped by holy mosque guard during Hajj in Mecca. So there is there was a hashtag going around, like not hashtag Me Too. It was like hashtag Mosque Me Too, about, you know, people who women who had experiences, maybe men too, of, you know, in their religious context being, you know, harassed. But, you know, I don't, like, it seems like I think of the Hajj, like you're going to Mecca to make a Hajj. That's like a serious thing. Like, and it seems like you would, Like, it seems like your innocence would really be shattered. Like, my innocence would really be shattered. Like, I'm thinking I'm going on a spiritual, thing. And like, we're all here for the purposes of worshiping Allah and, or handling our duties to God, or I don't know, but I'm just saying, you would think that it would be, and then somebody grabbing your breastises and your butt or whatever, you'd be like, ooh, like it would, like, I know what you mean, kind of take away some of your, like, your innocence. Like, I guess as Black folks or whatever, you constantly have stuff to take away your innocence. We the people, and then you realize, wait, we not the people, we the 3/5 of a people that wasn't really, we didn't have a vote, we was just used as pawns for the other people to we the people. Why do some Chinese funerals involve strippers? Because according to this article, when the more people you have at the funeral, the better. Now, they don't do it in the cities so much because it's illegal. But the more people you have at the funeral, the better. So they put the women, the strippers are stripping to attract people to the funeral, because then it's like a better funeral. That's what I learned from the article. A former NFL player who made $51 million in his career is now an FBI agent. So, there were a couple thoughts I had about it. One, I'm always sort of like, well, what about the traumatic brain injury? Like, I always wonder about these people who play football or boxers. Like, I figure it's just a matter of time. Maybe that's like a negative thing, but I'm like, if you're like constantly, how do you avoid not having your brain messed up? So, I'm kind of like, I don't want to say I'm glad, but I mean, not glad, but like, I just kind of feel like, these athletes who have, like, it's like, yeah, I don't even know how to articulate it, but it's sort of like, not to say that he's not going to be a weight on the community, but like, maybe he'll go in and wreak some havoc on somebody else's community, when he start having issues. If maybe he's not going to have issues, and it seems like this idea of, with the possible brain injuries, they should fit right in. Right, I guess, with the other crazy butt people. And then also, I kind of feel like the NFL and the FBI, they seem like the same type. Like, I'm not saying for everybody who's in them, but I feel like you could be, a Negro and be happy in the NFL, and then you could go on and be like, yeah, I want to be in the FBI. And so I guess I'm like, well, go on, Negro, and be happy in the FBI. I don't know if the point of the story was that he was making less money because he was making $51 million. I don't know. In light of FBI probe into NCAA violations, Stephen A. Smith reminds everyone of LeVar Ball. So this is back. I know who LeVar Ball is. Is that the daddy or one of the children? I'm familiar with the Balls a little bit, but I don't know who Stephen A. Smith is, so I don't even know. But you see, this story is gaining this story is gaining traction, and it's coming up again and again and again. How the Nile could see a water war. So Ethiopia, Somalia, and then Egypt, the Nile. So Egypt already has a dam, and when Egypt created their dam, they didn't give a darn about how it affected other people on other communities on the Nile. Apparently, they just did it. Now Ethiopia wants to create a dam, and Egypt is upset because they're like, it's going to affect our ability to get water from the Nile. And they don't feel that Ethiopia should be able to do that because it affects the other people. Now, is it Somalia? I feel like I meant to bring my map right here. But whatever it was, the Sudan, Somalia, whatever country is in between there, I think it's Somalia, is like, they cool either way because they gon' benefit. But they say really the only thing that Egypt could do other than, use diplomacy is like fight. And they say they probably not going to, the person who wrote the article is like, they probably not going to fight over it. But they kind of upset that Ethiopia is doing that. But it's kind of deep because it wasn't until the end of the article that it was revealed that Egypt had done the same thing. They don't give a damn because they are in denial. I couldn't resist. So anyway, yeah, so at the end, you know, I'm like, y'all, they did the same thing and they mad at them for doing the same. Juana Dimafelis, employer of Filipina maid found dead in freezer, arrested. And this again is like in that region of the world where you have just a lot of domestic workers who seem to be, I guess, enslaved and abused. And, you know, so they said that the woman was missing and they moved and nobody had been in an apartment for the year. And then they found a woman in the freezer of the apartment. So I don't know if it was I don't know, but there was evidence that she had been abused on her body. And they had moved on out and said they didn't know what was going on. Some people are so mean and nasty and cruel and crazy. Like, why are we beating people? I mean, yeah, I don't. Pilot season 2018, breakthrough for female directors, modest gains in director diversity. Inspirational Africans or glory hunters? What is the answer to all of this inhumanity? I don't know. I think it's the children. I don't know. So this is an Olympic story, and they're like, there are so many more black people in the Olympics, this Winter Olympics. Are they glory hunters or inspirational Africans? And I'm like, I don't even understand why there's an either or. Like, for the most part, aren't people who are competing in the Olympics like, I want to be the best in the world? Like, isn't that like hunting glory? Like, why we got to ask if that, I didn't like that title. Man who shot unarmed black man he deemed hoodlum guilty of murder. And this is one of those old stories, and I did read it, and I can't remember the brother's name, who was murdered and made his transition. But this is not a, you know, I guess we're finding somebody guilty of murder, so you know that it took time to get to the point where you had a trial. So this isn't a new story. But somebody was found guilty of murder. And again, I still have not figured out how to be excited or feel good about that, because I feel like, did that bring the man back to life? Did that unhurt his family? I mean, and then, you know, yeah, I think you're a hoodlum. So was it a police officer or a private citizen? I just hope later on people will remember that you can't just take matters into your own hands. That's the second sentence after the headline. So that makes you think it's in Raleigh, a white vigilante who shot and killed a 20-year-old black partygoer has been found guilty of first-degree murder. This man was convicted after a 2-week trial, and jurors deliberated for less than 2 hours before making the decision, according to Associated Press. I was curious about the makeup of the jury. They didn't say anything about that. He was found guilty of premeditated murder after fatally fighting upon an unarmed, and the person's name is Couren-Rodney Thomas, and the name didn't look familiar to me. Couren-Rodney, spelled the traditional way, Thomas, in Raleigh, North Carolina in 2016. But listen to this thing. This was the thing that was like kind of disturbing. Thomas had been attending a party near Copley's home when the incident occurred, where Copley claimed he was part of the neighborhood watch group that didn't exist. Prosecutor said the 40-year-old, so this is a 40-year-old and this is a 20-year-old that he killed, seemed intent on violence when the CBS North Carolina reported he told 911 dispatchers, this is the part that was really disturbing, "We got a bunch of hoodlums out here racing. I am locked and loaded, and I'm going outside to secure my neighborhood. You need to send PD as quickly as possible. I am going to secure my neighborhood. I am on the neighborhood watch. I am going to have my neighbors with me." So, yeah, he was planning to kill the person. I remember that story now that you read that part. Yeah, but you know, I guess at some point, especially it seemed like over the last year, like I just couldn't, I stopped reading, you know, I just couldn't anymore. This photo shows how the horrors of war have become an everyday part of everyday life in Syria. And I guess, you know, speaking of like, you know, the horrors of like, you know, just everyday life, like the little boy in Black Panther. Did y'all see Black Panther? The little boy in Black Panther, you know, when his father's like, "You ain't gonna mourn for me," he like, this is a day in the life of Oakland, California, Dad. I mean, what's up? You dead. People die. He ain't say that, but basically that's what he said. Like, mourn for what? And it's kind of like, wow. Myanmar bombs explode in capital of festive Rakhine state. Now, I haven't really been able to figure out what's going on in Myanmar, but where they forced the people out, now they have burned the communities where the people used to live. And they say that they're burning the communities in order to burn the evidence of the ethnic cleanse that just went on. But, you know, somebody told me once a long time ago, truth, you know, cut to the ground, burn to the ground, will rise again. You can't kill the truth. You know, you can try, but you can't. So you just have to believe. I just try to believe. But some of this stuff, it's just like, ugh. And I'm talking about it for 45 minutes. I usually try to limit it to like 20 minutes. But then when people are talking, it's harder. Wall Street billionaire Steve Schwarzman gave a record-setting gift to his public high school, and it highlights the dire situation American schools face. I think he gave like 250 billion, whatever. He gave a bunch of money, and he, like other people, need to give money to the schools. So I guess it's like showing a change in the schools going from being publicly funded to not being publicly funded. I looked up because I'm like, who is this Marjorie? The school where the children, when I was watching some of the children being interviewed, and I'm like, these children, they have been, like, I did youth development work. Somebody has been working with these kids. Who is it? What's the school they go to? Because and I don't mean somebody worked with them like, oh, the shooting was 2 days ago, let me work with you. But they've gotten a certain type of education and a certain type of orientation that it's good. I was impressed. I'm like, somebody has done a good job with these young people because they seem aware, they seem articulate, they seem conscious, they seem, you know, the person that, and I went to her Wikipedia page. I'm like, these children, somebody for a school assignment at this school probably made this. This woman was like lived to be 102 years old. She was a journalist. She was an activist. She was a suffragette. She went to Wellesley. That's the school my mother, all women's college. I was just like, when I read that page, I'm like, oh, that's who these children are. You know, because the name of the school was like Marjorie Peterman West. I'm like, who is Marjorie Peterman West or whatever? I can't remember the woman's name now. You know, but they say she was involved with civil rights, and and you know, one of the young men was like, well, I'm a journalist, and as a journalist, and my mother was like, that's the boy who was filming on the site. And I'm like, oh, I saw the footage of the child who's like, well, if I don't make it out alive. And I'm like, but when I saw, oh, she was a journalist, and Miami Herald, I think that's like her family's paper or something, and she had been, you know, but I was like, okay, so they probably have done those children probably have been trained to do research and to do analysis and to, you know, that's like we have at the free school. They don't call it the free school. Oh, they call it the free school here. I can't remember, but the free school here, those children, like when I saw them do their presentation last year, it was like they just have a different consciousness because they're having a different type of educational experience. And we're back, mixed race Joan of Arc. So we're back to where we started. Hallelujah. And we talking about the children. And just, you know, I don't know how, you know, but yeah, everybody needs to snatch up, you know, a child, a niece, a nephew, a daughter, a son, a grandson, a granddaughter, and try to, you know, try to do some consciousness raising and increase the love and increase the vibration, because you know, sometimes it just seems like the world just needs so much more than we have to offer. But we know that, you know, I don't know, I'm trying not to be too depressing here. Yeah, we need to, you know, snatch up some kids and love on, not, you know, some children, you know, and love on them, and, you know, in a healthy, wholesome way. Today is the best day ever. Any other stories out there that are really on people's minds, pressing? Drama, not drama, gossip. I was trying to say gossip, something to lighten the vibration. So I did a silly show earlier today, Married to Medicine. So the Married to Medicine review is up. I got a Making a Model review I hope to get a chance to put up. We're doing not notes on the newsfeed, but Be Fabulous You on openness. Whew. Today. So maybe, yeah, we need to talk about that, because some of the stuff we be open to, we need to shut down, and some of the stuff we shut down to, we need to open up to. But that's what I got. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Be Fabulous You. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Another great episode, sis. Love your work. Yay! I was cracking up. Yappo Yappo. What was it called? Comedy break? I don't even know what it was called, but I was laughing. And I have a cousin who, when she was a child, she wore a patch. They called it a lazy eye. But now I'm kind of like, well, does she, now it makes me want to call her and talk to her. Like, what's up with your eye? Like, you know, I don't know if she ever had surgery on it. But anyway, that's what I got. Today is, even though sometimes it might not seem like it, the best day ever. So look for the good and look for the God in every person and every situation. Start with yourself and be all of who God created you to be in the best way. Be you, be fabulous you. Peace.